Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Now we're going to go over section 4, which is organizing the argument. Now that we've already laid the foundation for what it is we want to discuss about our topic, we're going to go in and look at the connections between these different statements to organize a strong discussion and argument on our topic. Again, this example is using doctoral identity, while you will be using 3 different articles on the role of researcher for your assignment. So we start with the introduction. And the first thing you want to do is to provide an engaging statement.
And an engaging statement is what it sounds like. You want to engage the reader or hook the reader into the narrative, and you want it to be a statement. Now, you want to avoid sweeping generalizations and cliches, but you want to avoid starting a paper with a rhetorical question or famous quotations and dictionary definitions. You may have done this in your undergraduate and master's level uh, courses, but at the doctoral level, statements are stronger. Okay, and the statement that we've provided, um, we believe engages the reader into the topic. And so we wrote, students enter a doctoral program with an academic identity. That is, they have a sense of who they are as a student. And then we follow that up with academic support from Baker and Pfeiffer. And it reads, the doctoral identity develops as a learner transitions to become a researcher. Now, this statement supports our original statement or our engaging statement. And it's very important when you make statements that you support them with academic research. Okay. And this is going to be a practice that you're going to need to develop throughout your writing history in a doctoral program. Okay. And that's one way to do it, by using the source article or one of the source articles to support your engaging statement. But the one that I prefer is to go outside of the source articles and find outside research to support your statement. And certainly there is a lot of research studies on this particular topic of doctoral identity. So it shouldn't be too hard to find something that's current and relevant to the statement, and you can use that as well. But both approaches are solid and acceptable. And from here, we're going to then contextualize the topic.
This is something that students forget to do sometimes in their paper. You want to imagine that you're writing a journal article that's being published, so that your reader is not your instructor, but professional audience at large. So in this case, we're starting with this idea that students come in with the academic identity, they develop to a doctoral identity. So the first thing we need to do here is explain to the reader what doctoral identity is and why it's important. And then we're going to go on to let them know what our themes are and how these themes contribute to developing a doctoral identity. That piece is really important, so that your reader understands the discussion that will follow. And finally, the last statement in your introduction should be your thesis statement. We showed you in the previous video how to extrapolate a thesis statement, and we've chosen one of them. Here we've used successful doctoral students develop identity when they cultivate the qualities and behaviors of a professional writer, researcher, and scholar. You can see how this connects back to the intro. So if we change the thesis statement we were using, we may have to change how we open our paper. So it's important to keep these things aligned with each other. And as we move forward, we're going to talk about the first theme, which is relationships. And here we've chosen the topic sentence, doctoral students that establish relationships with faculty mentors learn how to become professional academics. Now, remember, we had evidence about relationships with faculty, with other students, with a professional network, and even with family members. But since we've chosen our topic sentence here to be only about faculty mentor relationships, we're going to exclude all other evidence that isn't relevant to that position that we're taking, right? So then we provide evidence from the 3 articles, and you can see on the screen we're talking about those students who don't form relationships, have difficulty. Assistantships are very important to being able to complete a program, and also that faculty members serve as a role model, and that students who emulate faculty are more likely to understand how to complete research. So that's the evidence that we'll be able to take. When you write your paper, you can organize your evidence by the ideas and synthesize these articles together in the support. Be sure that you're using citations. But here for to make sure that we can grade this work, be sure that you have 3 citations. You can have more than one citation in a sentence if it's appropriate, but we need to see citations from all 3 articles so that you're giving us evidence that you're supporting your article with all of the source articles. Finally, we're going to move into a transition statement. And this is a statement that connects theme 1, which is relationships, with theme 2, which is academic success. We need to tell the reader how these 2 themes are related to each other. In this case, relationships with faculty members, which is our first theme, they provide professional growth opportunities for students to learn how to be successful researchers. This is a very simple format for any one of your themes. We don't have any sub-themes, but we wanted to show you an example of using sub-themes to develop the relationships theme. So I'm going to let Dr. B talk about that.
Okay, so say you want to develop a paper with sub-themes, and probably your topic 5 paper will take the more direct approach with just talking about faculty mentors or something like that if you are using these articles. But when your instructor gives you feedback and asks you to go into more depth, maybe with the evidence or with the discussion, sub-themes are always a really good option. And so what we've done here is we've created 3 sub-themes under the main theme of relationships. And in order to do that, we first must change the topic sentence so it will align with our 3 sub-themes. And so our new topic sentence takes out the specificity of the faculty mentor and inserts a broader term, professional network. So let me read this for you now. Doctoral students that establish relationships with a professional network learn how to become professional academics. So now we have a wider net that we can play with. And so our 3 sub-themes now are mentor relationships, professional relationships, and personal relationships. And under the first sub-theme, we have evidence from Baker and Pfeiffer and Smith and Maker. Okay, and in the second, we have evidence from Gardner, and in the third, personal relationships, Baker and Pfeiffer mentioned supportive family members. And we thought that was really important. So we wanted to make sure that we had that in our paper as well. Now, an important point to take note of here is that all 3 articles are present in the main theme of relationships. But within the sub-themes, you do not need to have all 3 articles present. As you can see, we have one for personal relationships, one for professional relationships, and mentor relationships has 2. And from our readings, one of the reasons that we have more evidence under the mentor relationships is because we know that all 3 articles spent time talking about mentor relationships. So when the paper is laid out, mentor relationship sub-theme is probably going to be a little longer than the other 2 sub-themes because it was more important in the article. So you want to try to emulate that as well in your writing as you reflect upon the research. Now, as we move into the transition statement, you also are going to need to change that as well before you go into academic success. And so here we write, relationships help students achieve academic success by providing opportunities for professional growth and support that can boost perseverance. And so we've expanded upon our transition statement and is going to bring us now into our second theme,
All right.
which is going to be academic success.
Correct. So after we do our transition, we can talk about our second theme, which is like Dr. B is academic success. The important thing here is that we start again with a topic sentence that makes our position clear. Um, then we provide evidence from the three articles, just as we did with our first theme. And we want to be sure that our overall discussion in theme 2 is also supporting our thesis statement claim. And that moves us into the conclusion.
Now, in the conclusion, we want to begin our conclusion with a statement that supports the thesis statement. Okay, we're not repeating the thesis statement, but we're showing how we have supported it. And so the statement that we have provided is students that establish relationships with faculty mentors were able to develop a doctoral identity and become independent researchers. So first thing to note, this particular supportive statement is in relation to our first version of the relationship theme, which only talked about faculty mentors. And then, as you can see, we still have our topic, doctoral identity, represented. And we also mentioned one of the roles that's within that doctoral identity, independent researchers. Okay. From there, we want to then summarize the 2 points. Okay. And we want to be careful. We're not commenting or summarizing the articles. Okay. You're summarizing the main points that you made above. Okay. And then we're going to finish the conclusion with a future research recommendations. Now, there's a couple different ways you can go about this. One way is you can encourage the readers to continue the discussion and the research on the particular topics or themes that were mentioned above. Or you can look back at the articles and see where the authors identified limitations in their work, or you can identify limitations that they didn't mention and then suggest to the reader that they explore these spaces that have not been explored yet or need to be explored. And then you can simply suggest an alternative methodology or research design for future work. And that is our outline. And after that, you will go on to the reflection section, and that'll come up in the next video.